Then this week's video is another client request, and if anybody remembers, a few years ago I did an Art Deco bowl for a client. Well, I was at Bike Fest over the weekend, and I'll tell you a bit about that during the video. And the same client came up to me and he now wants a set of Art Deco candlesticks for either side of the bowl, but this time he actually brought a picture. Right, and I've a favour to ask anybody who lives in America, and I'll tell you that in a bit. Okay, then in the lathe I have a piece of Malaysian acacia, the same stuff I made the bowl out of. If you haven't seen the Art Deco bowl video and you would like to see it, I'll leave a link up there and a link below. Right. You know, as I said, this time, where did I put it? There it is. This time the client actually brought in a picture, whereas the last time it was a sketch. Right. And this is what he wants. He wants it done out of the same wood as the bowl, hence the Malaysian acacia. And what I'm doing is I'm doing this in cross grain so that it kind of matches with the bowl blank orientation of the bowl. Right? It's going to make it a little bit more difficult, but it should be fine. It just means I've got to watch my use of spindle gouges. Right? I can use spindle gouges on them, I just got to be very careful. I cannot use a spindle roughing gouge on wood that's in this orientation. Right, now they look simple enough, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to round it off first, put a mortise on one end of it, or sorry, put a, not a mortise, a tenon on one end of it, stick it into a set of jaws, drill it. As I've said before, if you're ever putting a hole in something, you should always drill it first, then put a cone center in it, because it will guarantee everything is still centralized. So I'm going to do that, and then I got you know, the candle cups. I'll show you them better later, for in on the top. But hopefully this should be a bit interesting. I know it's the second candle video in a row, I'm sorry, but said the client wants this. I'll do the same thing again. I'll turn one on camera, turn the second one off camera, then give you a look at the pair at the end. Right, but it doesn't look all that difficult to do, so we'll get on with it. Right, so I'm going to throw the helmet on. Because it's Malaysian acacia, it's very dusty, and we'll get this rounded off and get on with this. Right, and then we are rounded off. I'll throw into a chuck now. Chuck is there. Right. Now, this is where I need a favour from somebody who lives in the States. Right, as anybody's watched the channel for a while knows, within the last couple of years I've switched all my chucks to Supernova 2s. One of the pinions in this one is gone. Right, it's slipping. See it there? It's slipping. If I put a lot of pressure on it, it's fine, but it's slipping out. And I got in contact with Technitool to see where I could get one of these in Europe, and I was told to go to their AliExpress page. So went to their AliExpress page. They basically do not stock spare parts. Right, so got back onto them. They asked me to give them the part number, and they'd see where in Europe stocks them. So I gave them the part number. Have not heard back from them. Now, I did email them again this morning, but I'm not being very hopeful. But they do supply the parts to anybody who lives in America. So if somebody wouldn't mind doing me a huge favour and taking a delivery for me over in America and then posting it on to me, I of course will pay the postage and everything else, right? If somebody wouldn't mind doing that for me, contact me. If you're willing to do it, if you contact me through Facebook, everybody knows who I am on Facebook, or email me at bbturning@gmail.com, I would be extremely grateful. So if somebody wouldn't mind doing that, it would be great, because I can't get the pinions in Europe. The only place to supply them is in the States. Right, now I was actually very surprised at that, because Technitool do a lot of business for Supernovas in Europe, and the fact you can't get spares does not bode too well for them as a company. Right, then tighten this down. That's the one that's dodgy, so I got the other one. Right. Center it up again using the tailstock. And tighten it down. I'll try and use this one, see if I can. No, can't get anything on it. Just slips, so I can only use one. Right, now the first thing I'm going to do is straighten off this end, and I'm going to drill it for these, because as I've said this before, if you're ever putting a hole in something, or you need to drill it and you want to make sure it's central, before you start anything, drill it, because that will guarantee that the hole is in the center. I'm just going to open this packet. I actually got a dozen of these about a year ago, and I never got around to using them. I just got too busy. Go. So I just need to figure out the correct size hole. So the little candle cups, and I just have to figure out the correct size hole for them. So as soon as I figure it out, I'll be right back. Right then, and we're back. Now the closest drill that I have to it is a 7/8, but it's very, very slightly smaller. So I'm actually going to have to try and cut this. And believe me, I will be cutting it very gingerly. Right, let's see how far in I've gone. Need to go to about there. Okay, a little bit. Right, now I have to widen that ever so slightly. I'm just going to figure out what the best tool is for doing it. Probably a carbide, I would say. This is going to be dodgy doing this, because it's a long way out. Up a little. I want to be cutting on centre with this. Get that out of my way so I don't stab myself in the elbow. Right, there's a lot of force down here, so I have to be very, very careful doing this. So it isn't much, but I just have to be extremely careful doing it. Nearly there. I can't put much side pressure on this at all. This will be one of those times where it will be handy to have one of those steady rests to go here. I just don't happen to have one. And what isn't helping, of course, is these are flared. I am definitely going to build myself a steady rest after this. There we go, we're in. Grand. Right, now what I'm going to do is get it back out. Right, we're in. It's nice and tight. It's not going to slip out. It is nice and tight, isn't it? That's coming. There we go, it's out. Right, I'm definitely going to build myself a steady rest. Right, and that that's done, we can get on with the rest of this. Right. So, as I said, I'm going to use the tailstock with a cone center on it. I was moving things around in here because I was up to my tonsils getting ready for Bike Fest, and I was not as neat as I used to be. Yeah, so anyway, Bike Fest. It's basically, as it sounds, it's a motorcycle festival that's held here in Killarney. It's a great weekend. Met quite a few really nice people at it. Met one guy who has a channel, does up Volkswagens, you know, Beetles and Volkswagen buses, especially Volkswagen buses. His channel name is Joel's Rusty Buckets. Really nice fella, absolutely dead sound. I'll leave a link up there to Joel's channel, and I'll put a link below, of course. Go over, have a look. As I said, the guy is really, really nice. Right, now then, what I want to do now that everything is centered, I'm going to square that off. Right, I'll give it a quick run to make sure it's centered completely, that I'm working on something round, and then we will start referring to the drawing, or to the picture. Right, so we get on with that. And before anybody freaks out, this is not a spindle up and gouge in my hand. Alright then. Right, now we have a perfectly round workable surface. Now let's have a look at this picture. Right, it looks like there is a base. Right. Right, start as we leave that there for cutting off. Okay, it looks like there's a base that is tilted up that way, so we need a base. Right, and pull that off because we're cutting it. Right, up the top it looks like there are 4 embellishments. When I looked at this first, I thought that they were beads, but they're not. They're actually flat there. That part there is actually flat. So they're not beads, they're just cut in. The cut-ins look about the same width as the bead. Right, so Let's grab a ruler. They look about a half a centimetre maybe. See, this isn't scale. This isn't the scale. This picture, it's just a picture he grabbed off the internet. Right. So it's a guess job. That might be better actually. Yeah, we go in inches and we'll go a quarter of an inch. Okay. We'll go a quarter of an inch for each of these. Alright. Now I need to go way around. Okay. That ruler is way too long for doing this. I'll grab the shorter one. No. The markings on this one are better. They're clearer. Alright, so we'll stick with this one. Let's put up with the long. Alright then. So a quarter of an inch for each one. Right, so this pencil's too thick. I'm gonna get a better pencil because I can't see what I'm doing with that one. Right, I can't find a pencil, so a pen is gonna have to do. Right. Now then, every quarter of an inch. So it starts off with an out in. There's 4 of them. Okay, right. So we have 1. Right then, we'll cut them in. This is the fun of prototyping stuff when you're not 100% sure. Right, I just want to give that an edge. Right, then we'll cut these in a little more speed. Keep up on that line. Now let's just give me an idea of what I'm looking at. Because if you look at the picture, they kind of tilt. So they won't be staying like that. Right, and I need to get the base in. I constantly keep looking back at the picture. Right. Now we start getting this shape into it. I can deal with up there. This is just, those marks are just there to help me visualize it in my head. I think I'm slightly too high. Now I'm going to tilt this here just so I can get the visual into my head. Now the base, just want to check. There seems to be a small little straight just there at the bottom. Right. Now I'm going to put an edge on this. Right, now from the looks of the picture, the top here is thinner than the bottom. And they're tilted, so I need to bring that in a fair bit. try that and see what happens. I have to be very careful at the end there to slow right down, because if I shoot off the end of that, this whole thing is going to explode on me. Right. Turn that off and give myself the best shot by putting that roughly at the angle I want. Now I'm going to have to cut uphill here a little bit. Again, being very careful not to shoot off the end. Now, I don't want to bring that gouge any closer to there, so I'm just going to grab cardboard. Just get that in there. No sense in risking a bad catch if I don't have to. And so, and bring this down again. I need to sharpen this gouge again. This wood is really hard. Right, try this cut again, because that is not straight. Yeah, that's cutting easier. Something doesn't feel right. I don't know what it is. Might have just been slightly too close or something. What's that? I don't know what that is. Something sounds off there. It's a knot. Yeah, like the normal again now. Okay, so straight. There's a bump there, and there's a bump there, which you gotta get out. Feather it in, feather it out, and you get rid of this bump where this knot is. Right. Gonna get in there with a detail gouge to get rid of that. The bump that's there. Right then, that's a rough shape. Now we're going to handle this top part. So that has to be brought down to slightly less than that. So I need to make these a little deeper. Now we can start trimming these down a little. Yeah, that looks slightly less. Is all I want. Now we'll make them slightly deeper. A little bit more refined, or defined, should I say. Alright then, what do you think? Does that look pretty close? I'm not sure about this base, it's probably because it's too thick. There's a knot there. Where's that other knot that was giving us the trouble? There. Alright then, we will give that a sand and see how it looks. So I'll do that and be right back. Alright, let's just buffing the wax off. It looks pretty close, but there's something that isn't right. And what I think it is I think that there is not thin enough. Alright, I'll show you the picture now and tell me what you think. This is where I prototype stuff first, so that I can spot little things like this. I think compared to the picture, that is too wide. Where did I put the picture? There it is. Okay. What do you think? I think that's a bit wide there. The rest of it seems okay. At least not there. Right then, we'll take away the heads or the tail stock, finish the top and then part it off, and then I'll do the other one off camera and we'll give you a better look at them. And the first thing I'll do is finish this off, and then I'm going to have to sand and finish the top off. And very gently take this away, because the vibration is going to be bad. You see, right. Grab a spindle gouge, you can get a clean that up. Yeah. Now I'm going to sand and finish there, and then we'll part it off. So we'll be back as soon as I've done that. It won't take me a second. Alright, just buffing the wax off the end of it. That's grand. As you can see, by using the tail stock in it after I've drilled it, that hole is perfectly centered. Now we part this off. So to part it off, sand the end. Right then, I'm only going to do one of these because there is something wrong with that and I can't figure out what it is. I just can't put my finger on it, what's wrong with it. This is why we prototype stuff. But there is something up with that and I just can't put my finger on it. I think it might be that this is too wide. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it for a couple of days and it'll just pop into my head, you know, oh, that's what it is. But as I said, it's a work in progress. But I just can't put my finger on what is wrong with that. There is something wrong with it. So anyway, go over and have a look at Joe's Rusty Buckets. It's a nice fella. I was talking to him for ages at Bike Fest. If anybody over in the US can do me that little favour, I will be eternally grateful. So if you enjoyed that or got anything out of it, if you wouldn't mind clicking like on the video, and I'll see you on the next one.